Alright YouTubers, what is happening? Doing another top 10 video. As promised, after doing the top 10 defensive folding knives, or best knives for self-defense, we're doing a top 10 fixed blades for self-defense, weapon retention. So we've got a bunch of them here in front of you, not all of them. And we're going to do a little bit different scoring. I'm trying to keep this video a little shorter than the last one. The last one was quite long. So we're going to do a not as detailed of a scoring system. We're basically going to score these knives on 6 different things: how easily they deploy, how quickly you can access the knife, the sheath and how the sheath is, and how many mounting options it has, concealability, the blade shape, is it good for self-defense, and ease of use. Does it require training? Is it just gross motor skills? And then their value. You'll find a lot of these blades are very high value, so there's going to be something in here for everyone. So that'll be kind of how we go about it. I'm also going to show you how they deploy, how they carry on the belt, and how they deploy like I did last time. And this time we're going to do a little different. We're going to go each knife one at a time. So we're going to slow it down, but keep the video overall shorter. So let's go ahead and get into it. Stay tuned. Wouldn't be a video about self-defense fixed blades if you didn't include the KaBar TDI. Pretty infamous knife. This is the smaller one. They do have a couple different options. A great design for a self-defense knife. It was designed for law enforcement for this exact reason why we're doing this video: weapon retention. Someone goes for their carry gun, you got a small fixed blade on your offhand that you can use to defend your gun essentially. So designed to be used in a few different ways. Let's talk about how easily it deploys out of the sheath. The sheath is not terrible. It's not great either, but there's lots of aftermarket sheath option for this. But once you have it mounted, it deploys very quick and easy. You can mount it to be in the forward grip on your sheath when you want to draw it on your left or right hand side. You can also have it set up to do reverse grip. So you have lots of options. So it's a good overall good sheath idea there. Like I said, there's lots of good aftermarket sheaths for this though. Concealability is not quite as high as some of the other ones you can horizontally carry, but it's still pretty high. I mean, it's not a huge knife, and when I wear it, I don't even hardly notice I have it on. So, blade shape is good. It's one of the smaller blades in the video as far as your cutting edge is concerned. And again, it's designed to be drawn out like a firearm and used like this, or in the reverse grip like so. And the blade shape is good for that reason. Ease of use training. There is a lot of training. There's a lot of courses offered for the KaBar TDI. It's really cool. I mean, it's been around for a long time. I feel like it had to be included in this video because it's still a really good option, and a lot of companies have tried to copy this, like the Benchmade Azeria I did earlier in the video is essentially a very similar copy of this knife because it's a great design, and it doesn't take a lot of training, but there is options for training out there, which is always nice. Value-wise, it is under 50 bucks. I think they're 35 or something like that, $38. So they're really high value, and retention on them is pretty good. I mean, once it gets in your hand, you have more handle on this than you do the Azeria, so I like the TDI better. But it again doesn't have that finger retention ring. It's in there pretty good in your hand, and you got that nice forward choil here to protect your hand, your fingers, but the retention is not as high on this one as it is the knives with the finger rings, so I do kind of knock it a little bit on that. But overall, the KaBar TDI is a really good option, guys. Okay, the KaBar TDI, got it mounted back here in this kind of orientation. You can also flip the clip and have it come out like this. I've got it like this, so it draws like a pistol, comes forward, kind of like a push dagger. Punch dagger, whatever you want to call them, push dagger, punch dagger. Stock sheath is not bad, it's not the greatest, but it works. But it's still very quick to deploy, and if you wanted to, like I said, you could flip it around, have it like this, just for sake of this, and then you could, well, that's not going to work. But you can flip the clip around and have it reverse carry as well. So the TDI is a great option. There's lots of aftermarket sheaths available for this too if you don't like the stock one. Alright guys, let's talk about the Shark Bite from Scharde Blades. Very cool knife. Very different than a lot of the knives in this video. It is definitely a defensive knife. I talked to the owner and designer of Scharde Blades, and he basically kind of said, I designed this as a knife to get out, kind of a get the heck off me kind of knife, and that's exactly what it is. What I like about it, it's very easy to deploy out of the sheath. The sheath is decent quality, not the best, but it's good. It has good retention, but I notice it's wearing on the blade a little bit. Your sheath does have good mounting options. It comes with a belt clip. It easily takes soft loops. I've got 2 soft loops here, and you'll see in the video here in a minute how I mount this and how it's with that finger ring. It's super fast out of the sheath, so speed is very high on this one. Good sheath as well, and it conceals really well for being one of the bigger blades because you can mount it horizontally. But you've got a lot of options. You could mount this vertically like so. You could mount it forward reverse grip. I mean, however you want to do it, you've got a lot of options in this one, so it's very versatile. Blade shape is definitely nasty. It's got a really, you know, steep, what do I want to say here? You know, it comes down to a really fine point, and then you have a nice little bit of belly there, not a ton, but it's definitely not, you know, a slicer or anything, but it's meant for stabbing and, like you said, get off me kind of knife, and it's got a nice blade shape for that. It's very wicked looking. Ease of use, I would say, it's you know, having that finger ring, it's almost like a push dagger, but it's not, and it's kind of more of a hybrid blade as far as like you have good retention, you can stab, you can slice, you can do a lot of things with this style of blade. Value-wise, I mean, pretty good deal, honestly. I got mine at a really good price. I think they're showing at the show for 75 bucks. They're usually about 90 on their site. So you're under $100, 1095 steel. You've got a couple different sheath options. You got different layers of, you can do like a thicker handle or you do these thinner ones. These are all micarta. I did the thinner so it'll conceal better. So pretty high in value, and the retention is super high on this one. It's almost like the Flagrant and the Karambit and other ones we'll talk about. Because of that finger hole, that's not coming out of your hand anytime soon. That's going to be very difficult to remove out of your hand, and so the retention is super high on this one. So this one gets a really high marks for me, and it's a nice option. It's the Scharblade Shark Bite, and again, I'll put links for all these knives in the description below. So I definitely am a big fan of that one. That's one of my favorites in the series. Alright, so the Scharblades got it mounted horizontally in the belt, like so, and you can draw it very quickly with your non-dominant hand, and because of the way the blade's designed, your finger is already in that hole, so you have really good retention, and you can stab, slash, whatever you need to from that side. You can see I added an extra soft loop, or actually this didn't come with soft loop, it came with a clip. I added the soft loops. I think the soft loops is where to go, but it carries very nice and snug. Nope. It carries very nice and snug on the belt, very flat, so you don't even know it's there. So it conceals perfectly under a t-shirt. Alright guys, let's talk about the Schrade SCHF 54, which is basically the Schrade push dagger. Another really good value option. You can get one of these for like under $20. Ridiculous. So if you're on a tight budget but still want a defensive blade, this is a great option. Deploys very easily from the sheath. The sheath we'll get more into the sheath here in a second, but it's very quick and it goes right in your fingers. You can grab it like that. You can grab it like so. You know, you got a lot of different ways. That's probably the best and most secure way to do it, but it feels more natural to grab it like this. So nice double-edged blade there, so make sure this is legal. And guys, obviously, you know, that's why we did this video second. A lot of states you can't carry a fixed blade concealed. You can't do that. That's why there's the folder video, because most people can carry a folder. These are for states that you can conceal a fixed blade. Push daggers have been around a long time. They're easy to use. Gross motor function. If you can throw a punch, you can stab. You can use this knife. So you know that is it deploys really quickly from the sheath. It has really good, really very easy to use. The sheath is decent. It's again a budget knife, but you can flip the clip and go both ways. You can also run soft loops on this, I believe, but it's a little wide, which you're gonna have to have really long soft loops. I don't know if they make them, but so what I did, I just put the clip horizontally, and as I demonstrate here in a minute, it will actually deploy really nicely, and it carries really nicely right there in the front, kind of by your appendix area. You pull out with your left hand, and you have access to that. So it conceals well, not as good necessarily because it's got a bigger sheath, but it's not bad. The blade shape's obviously meant for self-defense. Self-defense only being double-edged dagger style, and like I said, doesn't take a lot of gross motor skills, a lot of training to use it. and it's super high in value. Retention wise, doesn't have a ring. However, you get that in your hand, and it's a super comfortable handle. It's not, man, it's going to take a lot to get that out of your hand. So I would say the retention's really good on this one as well. So the Schrade SCHF 54 push dagger, great option. There we got the cold steel push dagger. You can see it conceals also very nicely horizontally in the waistband. Quick action there. The sheath did move a little bit because of the clip on the belt, but it's still very secure. Then you have your, you know, dagger ready to go. Carries pretty discreetly, not quite as flat because the sheath's a little big, but the belt clip does work horizontally, and you can deploy it very quick. Alright, next up is the Clinch Pick. This is also an infamous self-defense knife. Now, these used to be made in the US and made for Tad Gear and sold on the Tad Gear website, and they're a lot more expensive. Now they're kind of referred to as the China Pick because they're made overseas in China. But they're still good quality. I have some nice micarta handles. The kicker on this one is it's got a reverse blade, so the top part of your blade here is sharpened, not this bottom part. That is actually one thing that I'm not necessarily a big, huge fan of, and I know it's designed like that for a reason, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the design. It's just that you're so used to using that top of that knife, like you would on the KaBar TDI here, as a thumb ramp, or as, you know, somewhere to hold your thumb for more stability. Now, you're not cutting things necessarily. You're more trying to get something off you. And so the design of the Clinch Pick is really good. It's got a nice handle. It feels super comfortable in your handle. It's one of the smaller blades overall, and it carries like that. The sheath is decent. It's a little too stiff. You can see there's lots of wear marks on the blade. It's just kind of wearing the kydex off. It'll probably break in over time. But it is very fast to deploy in the reverse grip out of the sheath. You have one soft loop that comes with. I added a second. So it's probably the best for concealability of all the knives in the video. So it has a great sheath with lots of different mounting options. It's fast to deploy. It's very concealable. It has a very effective blade shape, but it's not, and it's something that takes practice and training to use because it's so just different. You're not used to you're not having to be able to put your blade. You know, you're used to having this part of the blade be sharp and not that part. So it does take some time. Will take some more training. The nice thing is the Clinch Pick has a trainer available, so you can train without having a sharp edge. But it's exactly the same. It has a red handle and no sharpened edge, but it, you know, maneuvers, has the same sheath. So you do have a training option, which is a huge thing, I think. Not a lot of the knives in this video do. So pretty good value. I think I paid $70, maybe $90 on Amazon. They have them available on Amazon now, and it was not shipped, you know, 2-day, so it's pretty high value, under $100. And your retention is not as good on this one. The handle fits your hand great, guys, no doubt about it, but it still doesn't have any kind of retention ring or anything, so you still could lose this out of your hand in a stressful situation. So it does take a little bit of a knock on that one, but overall, just another great pick, you know, another great pick, and Clinch Pick, and like I said, it wouldn't be a top 10 defensive knife video, fixed blades, without the Clinch Pick included. Alright, next up is the Clinch Pick, which of the knives is, oh, there's got a weird lag right there. Weird glare of light right there. Let me move this, sorry. Coming from those blinds behind me. Clinch Pick is the most concealable, and it's very quick to draw. I mean, it's in your hand in seconds. The stock sheath comes with one soft loop. I would definitely put 2 because it moves around, but you can see how quick it is to draw and how easily it conceals on the belt. It's definitely designed to be drawn from the reverse grip. Alright, so here we got another budget option for you. This is the Schrade SCH111, essentially the Karambit, a smaller Karambit. I really like it. It's pretty awesome, actually. It's one of my favorites, especially for the money. $17 or something like that, under 20. Deploys nicely out of the sheath. The sheath is pretty cheesy, and it will not take soft loops. It's pretty much designed as a neck knife, which I don't want any neck knives for this kind of roll. So what I did is I modified it with a Night Eyes clip. I got this idea from Chris Tanner over at Prepared Mind 101. And that you just put the adhesive on there, and this clip will allow you to clip it in your pocket. I have it set up to clip in your back rear pocket, which I'll show you how I do it. And because these have a self-locking feature on the clip, the sheath stays home, the blade comes out. You know, and a Karambit obviously is designed to be pulling out of the sheath in the reverse grip. So it won't carry horizontally, so it does take a little bit of a hit on concealability. It's not as concealable as the other one. The blade shape's obviously for self-defense. That's the Karambit style blade, a hawk bill. It's meant for tearing and slashing cuts, not necessarily for stabbing. This one is not as pronounced, so you probably could still stab with this one. I do like the blade shape of this one quite a bit. This one, though, does take a little bit more training and such, practice to use. Karambits are not necessarily as easy as like a push dagger or, you know, like the KaBar TDI or anything as far as use, so it would take a little bit more practice and training to use something like this as a self-defense weapon. Value is extremely high on these things, man. I mean, it's Schrade. I'm not even sure what the steel is on this one. It doesn't really matter, though, because this is a knife that you hopefully never have to use. As long as it has a sharp factory edge, you're not going to dull it. You know, you're rarely going to pull out of the sheath even. So it's just not as big of a deal to have higher end steel on this. So great value, under 20 bucks. So like, again, another great budget option for Schrade. And the retention on this one is excellent because of the finger ring. I mean, once you get that in there and lock that in, it's going to be very difficult to get that out of your hand. So overall, another great budget option, guys, for under $20. The only knock I have on it is the sheath's not the greatest, and I had to buy an extra clip to modify it, but it works. And it can't be concealed horizontally on the belt. So that does take a little bit of a hit for me on that, but for the money, again, another great option for under 20 bucks. Okay, I've got the Schrade Karambit on me, and you have to carry this one. It doesn't really mount horizontally, so I've actually got it in the back pocket. With that Night Eyes clip I modified, she stays in place. You can get that Karambit out really quick. So it's not horizontal up here like on the front, like a lot of them are. You have to come kind of from behind, but that makes for a good striking motion there with the Karambit. So still a good option. Alright, so the Flagrant Havoc. Actually, this is one of the knives in the video that I actually did a full review on as well. And just recently a new blade that came out. So I do have a review on this. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this one, but I will go through the scoring for this. So easy deployment, it's awesome. Super easy to deploy, left or right-handed. Reverse grip, forward grip. Has great sheath. One of the best sheaths you can get out of these knives in this video. Comes with 2 soft loops. You can carry it horizontally like I do, and I'll demonstrate here for you. And you can also carry it this way because the loops can mount like this. So probably the most versatile sheath, and really one of the top knives. It conceals well. It's a little bit longer than some of the other blades, but it still conceals very well. It has a great blade shape. That nasty Tanto blade there is going to be really a great stabber, but not a bad slicer at all. It doesn't take it, you know, because of the finger retention ring, which I love, you know, Karambit style. You know, it's mostly gross motor skills of stabbing. It's not necessarily going to take a lot of training like a Karambit or something to use effectively. But again, like I'll probably say this a few times, you know, it's always good to train with your knife, especially with your firearm. Value, this is one of the most expensive blades in the video, maybe the most. It's $150, so it's not as high on the value scale, but it does have excellent retention because it has the Karambit style ring, which gives you, you know, it's not going to get taken away from you when it's on your finger, and you can actually manipulate and use your weapon with this still on your finger, not having to resheath the knife. That's going to go a long way, and that is why that's one of my favorite options of these 10 fixed blades. Oh, didn't mean to bounce that, sorry. Alright, the Flagrant Havoc, I demonstrated this in the review of this, but you can see it carries real nicely. You can't see it. You can get it out in that reverse grip really quick, right into a stab motion, just very quick, very fast. Great retention, great concealability. So it draws very nicely horizontally. Alright, so Benchmade Azeria. This is actually a HK knife called the Plan C or D or something like that. But they discontinued their HK series this year, 2017, so they brought it out as a Benchmade. So very small fixed blade, similar to a KaBar TDI as far as functionality, but a different blade shape altogether. It has a Wharncliffe blade. N680 steel. You're looking at about a 2.9-inch blade length. Very lightweight. Total weight with the sheath is 2.4 ounces. So that is one of the nice things about this fixed blade. So let's talk about easy deployment. It is very easy to deploy in this grip here. If you're going to carry it on the same side as your firearm. If you're going to carry it on the opposite side, which I recommend, you can have it pull out similar to the TDI, where it's like a gun. It's designed to be pulled out like a pistol. Or you can put it in the reverse motion here, like that's how I have it mounted. And then when you pull it out, you're in reverse grip, and you're ready to rock there. So very easy to deploy out of the sheath. The sheath is a decent sheath. It's kind of a plastic sheath. It has a belt clip that it comes with, but you can also run soft loops. I ran soft loops on this, and I'll show you this in the video here in a minute. I basically ran a soft loop from here around, so you can run a soft loop or use the included belt clip. I like the soft loops better, but the clip it comes with is not bad at all. So very easy, multiple mounting options. You can go left or right hand, front or reverse grips. So good on that. Concealability does conceal well, not quite as good as some of the other ones, which is surprising because of how small it is, but it's because of the sheath and the way it's mounting. It's not going to conceal as good as the ones that you can carry horizontal in the front of your belt, but it still conceals well. It's still a good option. Your blade shape is good for self-defense. Wharncliffe blades are very proven. They have a good tip. They are Michael Yanich, I believe it is, that does all the spider codes. He's done some studies and such, and for self-defense. The Wharncliffe is his desired blade shape. Look at this Spyderco Yojimbo knives. So it is a good blade shape for self-defense. And this one, if you use it like a TDI, it's kind of like a push, or if you can throw a punch. It doesn't require a lot of training to use. Even in the reverse grip, it's a very simple stabbing motion or slice. Not going to take a ton of training. I mean, any knife you carry like this, a small fixed blade, you should get some training with if you can, especially with your firearm. That's kind of my desire here, is to use it with with my firearm. Value-wise, it is good value. It is about $70. It's not expensive. It's under $100. So I wouldn't call that expensive. It's a pretty good value. One other category I just thought of that I want to mention, and I'll just include it with this one and go on throughout the rest of them, is the retention of the blade. That's one thing that this one doesn't have. It has a good handle. It's pretty small. I can't get, I can get 3.5 fingers on it. It doesn't have any kind of ring retention or any way to really retain the blade, so I do kind of, that is one negative, I guess you'd say, on the Azeria. But overall, a good option, guys, for about $70. Alright, so the Benchmade Azeria carries on this side. It's kind of set up like the TDI, but in reverse grip. You can see it's quick, fast to draw. I've got the sheath modded with a soft loop, and the grip comes forward like that, so it doesn't conceal as well. Kind of pokes out a little bit, but it's still pretty quick. Now you can change that. It comes with a clip, so it's very similar to the TDI. It's almost, just another option if you wanted a Wharncliffe style blade instead of the TDI. Alright guys, next up is the Benchmade SOCP. Very infamous self-defense blade as well. You can see here I've got the trainer, because you can buy the trainer and the blade together, which is awesome, and one of my favorite knives in the series because of that. Oh, there it is. So the SOCP is a great option. Comes in this sheath. It also has two different blade shapes. It has this single-edged, serrated, partially serrated, or you can get both edges sharpened. I went with this one just because I think that's what was in stock at Blade HQ when I bought it. So either way, it's going to work great. So it comes in a sheath now. It can only be mounted horizontally because it used to have this pocket clip on it. I'll show you real quick. And I modified it with a night eyes clip, but it used to mount right here. And you think, oh, that's a great idea. You can put it in your front pocket, back pocket, and you can. But one of the major issues with this blade is the coating on this. It's a little stiff to get out, and this clip does not retain the sheath well enough. So sometimes you'll go to pull the knife out, and the whole sheath comes with it. So I modified it to have, I want it to be secure still. I was using it, and I kind of just had the blade kind of sitting here like this, and it wasn't falling out. I mean, but you could get it out without the sheath coming. But just in case, I said, you know what, I'm going to try one of those night ice clips because they have the auto lock feature, and this works wonders, guys. I can put this in my pocket now, and it automatically locks down into the fabric, and no matter how snug I have that in there, when I pull that blade out, the sheath stays still. So that's a $9 upgrade or option you can do on the SOCP. Love that it comes with the trainer. You can actually get some good training with it, practice with it. So let's go over the scoring real quick. The ease of deployment, it deploys very easily and fast out of the sheath. It has, the sheath is kind of limited though to how you can mount it. You pretty much can only mount it vertically. That's all you can do. You can't really do horizontally on your belt. It's way too long. And but it works. I mean, you can throw it in your back pocket. You can throw it like in a cargo pocket. You can put it in like the side pocket on the Condor pants that I did a review on recently. Works great in those. So there is a lot of options, but it's not as versatile, so it does get a little bit of knock there on the sheath and mounting options. I do know that there is a few people that make aftermarket sheaths for these. Concealability, it does take a little bit of a hit on. I mean, it's not bad because you can clip this to your pocket, and it doesn't necessarily look like a knife. I mean, it has this ring sticking up, and you know, you don't really notice it as much, but you know, you can put it in your pocket, and it doesn't scream knife, but there's something definitely, you know, different. So the concealability is decent. Your blade shape, even if you did the Dagger, it's a stabbing style blade. Either way, with this one or the double-edged, it's going to be a Dagger style, you know, type blade for it's mostly made for stabbing. You do have some really good jimping up here for your thumb, and the grip on the knife, the way it's designed with the handle, it feels so good in your hand. Like, it feels super natural. I love the control you have this with. You do get a little bit more reach on this one. I mean, the SOCP is really a good option, guys. Designed by Greg Thompson. So ease of use, I think it's pretty good. But the nice thing is that it comes with a trainer and a package. So for 120 bucks, you get the trainer in the sheath and the knife, and you can train with the trainer, and it fits in the sheath just fine. It's red, it's unsharpened. I mean, you can use this as a blunt instrument if you wanted to, I guess. But it's nice that you have that training option. Again, like kind of like a Karambit, it does take a little bit more skill and practice to use, though. Value-wise, I think it's a good value because it has, for 120 or 100 bucks around there, I think it was 120, you get the blade and a trainer. That's a good deal. Most of the knives don't come with a trainer. You can buy the trainer separate, like the Clinch Pick, and the trainer is just as much as the knife. Whereas this gives you both in one package. So that's, I think, it's actually a pretty good value. And the retention of the weapon is very good with the finger ring, similar to a Karambit style. You know, with that good jimping, you're not going to get that out of your hand, man. That's going to take a lot to pry that off your hands, and that perpetrator is going to get lots of cuts and lots of blood loss from trying to take that out of your hands. So, as in this design for self-defense weapon retention, this is one of my favorite options in the video, the Benchmade SOCP. Alright, SOCP is another horizontal carry. That's what I got on me right now. It's in my back pocket. Jeez, you can't see it. But you can get it out so quick, so fast. With that, in that ring, you have great retention. This is definitely one of my favorite options. And I modified the sheath a little bit, which I'll show in the, or have probably already shown in the video, with this night ice clip that works a lot better. In fact, I can't even get it off my pants right now because it automatically locks. Yeah, the stock one would have a problem where the whole sheath would come out the knife, which is definitely a no-go. So, quick from the horizontal rear carry as well. Alright, YouTubers, what's going on? Looking at another one in the fixed blade here. This is another option for a defensive fixed blade. This is the Cold Steel Mini Tack. Now, this is the Tanto version. They have many different versions of this knife, and they're all good options for this kind of self-defense, belt carry, you know, offhand type, weapon retention type knife. This one is just the Tanto with the serrated edge. They also come in quite a few different options. So there's a beaver tail, Skinner, Kiridashi, the Tanto. I feel like the Tanto is probably the most tactical of them all, but your blade length on this is 3 3/4 inches, so you got a good amount of blade. 2.5 inches thick with a 3-inch handle. Overall length is 6 3/4 inches. Oscillate steel, weighs 2.7 ounces. And it comes with a Secure X sheath. Now you can see here, this is actually my buddy's, and he modded this sheath with a soft loop, which we've done quite a bit to a lot of our fixed blades. and that allows you to carry it horizontally on the belt. Normally it's just a neck knife. Then he also modified this with a little bit of paracord here, which is really actually quite handy because the handle's a little small to pull out, but if you get your pinky in there, you can easily get that blade out of there, and you have a nice little retention as well. Plus you got a nice finger guard there and a really nice Tanto tip. So I think it's a great option. You can pick these up for like 30 bucks. I think he's got most of the series, but I think this is the one that he kind of set up for belt carry. But very simple to do. I've said many times how you do these soft loops, and I'll put a link in the description of this video where you buy these. They're for gun holsters. You can buy them on Amazon, like $10. And as you can see in the video, I've modified quite a few of the sheaths with these. So we'll show you how it carries on the belt, how it conceals, and how it deploys out of the sheath. Alright, so we got the mini tack on the horizontal carry right here by the belt. You can see with that paracord loop, you can get that out of there pretty fast in reverse grip. You know, get that person off you, the quick strike. But it's very easy to get in and out of the sheath. Carries pretty nicely, and it conceals pretty good. I mean, this is just a normal t-shirt, and you can hardly tell it's there. It's really comfortable. It sits pretty flat, and it's I didn't even use the paracord that time, and it came out just fine. Really cool little knife, guys, for 30 bucks. Totally dig it. Alright guys, so last knife of the top 10, and not necessarily the best one, but an option, is the Dmax Karambit by Max Venom. Designed by Doug Marqueta, same guy that did the Fox Dart and 599 Karambit. So this is a cool little fixed blade, and if you look at it, it reminds you of the Schrade, right? Obviously a little bit higher quality. It's going to have a trainer option available, which is a really, really nice thing to have if you're going to be using a blade like this. It's made of S35VN steel, so the steel is going to be nicer. But you get the trainer and the blade for 160 bucks. Very lightweight, and it comes with this Kydex holster that works, I believe works for both. Let's try it. Yeah, it works for both. The trainer and the actual Karambit. And it's set up for neck knife carry, which for what I'm going after here for left side carry or for non-dominant hand, it's a little difficult to use as a neck knife. Now, what you'd have to do with something like this is similar to the Schrade Karambit. That's very similar to this. You'd have to modify the sheath a bit and use like one of those night eyes clips and carry it in your back pocket or your front pocket or something. Or try to modify it with like a soft loop. Now, I found that you can't. These grommets are too small to use a soft loop, which is really disappointing because that would have been awesome if you could use a soft loop. It would have came over like this on your belt, been good to go. So that's a little unfortunate. So in its current state with the neck knife, it works, and you can watch some of the videos, but it's still kind of more set up for right hand as a defensive blade and not in your weak side. So if if you were to get one of these, which I think is a great option because the design of the knife is awesome. It's just a small, compact, fixed blade, but it fits the hand so nicely. You have that nice retention ring, which is important, and it's not terrible. It's so much like that Schrade. That Schrade's a really good deal for the money. It can be a stabber, it can be a slicer also. So you're just gonna have to work with the sheath somehow. Either drill out those grommets and use, widen them out somehow so you can use a soft loop. It may be possible. I'm not going to do that to this. This is on loan from a friend, so I'm not going to do that. But I do like this option, especially because it has a trainer available. So you have a trainer so you can practice, train with it, use the sheath. But again, the sheath is kind of, it's designed as a neck knife, and I feel like it should have been designed as a belt knife. Now you could, like I said, use one of those night eyes clips on the sheath, and it would work for a vertical carry. So another option, guys, the Dmax Karambit, 160 bucks for the trainer and the Karambit together. Not a bad value. Not going to demonstrate the draw on this one just because it's kind of set up for neck knife carry, and that's not kind of what we're going after. Like I said, this is an option, kind of a last option here, if you modify the sheath somehow. So thanks for watching. Alright guys, so that wraps up the video, the top 10 fixed blades for self-defense. Lots of good options out there. My three favorite are going to be the Flagrant Havoc, the Scar Blades, Shark Bite, and the Benchmade SOCP are the three that I've that are my favorite. I would really like the Dmax Karambit if it had a better sheath, like a sheath option for belt carry, not just for neck knife. So, but lots of good options in this list, guys. Lots of value options that aren't going to break the bank. Lots of them are under 30, 40 bucks, and that's great. And you can have a defensive blade on you and help, you know, retain your weapon, and you know, just as a last ditch to your firearm. So, hope you enjoyed this video series, guys, on the 10 best fixed blades for self-defense. Any questions or comments, leave them down below, and we'll see you on the next video.